Hello, it's Dana. So I've been trying to clear out things that I do not use or find a use for the things that I have that I haven't used. I hate to waste items, and when I buy a paper pack, very often I see one of these giant prints. But if I'm making tags or something small and you just get a little piece of the picture, not it doesn't look great if it's a large print. So I decided to take all the large print papers I could find in my stash and make some envelopes. And I think they turned out quite nice. But I think that turned out as a really cute envelope. The irises were kind of hard to do because they're directional. And I'm going to show you how I made that. Okay, something else that I've been hanging on to forever is I had a couple of these Cafe Parisian. I love Graphics 45 paper. But what do you do with this one? So each set comes with a couple of these big, and they're just lovely. There is so many pretty things on here. There's pastries, and there's the ladies dining, and then these ladies in their hats, and the roses and the beautiful trim. I didn't know what to do with it. I'm not a scrapbooker, and I wasn't making photo albums. So I made an envelope out of it, and I think it turned out really cute. It is double-sided paper, and so now I've found a use for that too. So I'm really, really happy about this envelope thing, and I'm going to show you a trick to making them that makes it a lot easier. I also have another example of things I haven't used. This. I have never used this page. I love this stack. This is an older stack from Hobby Lobby. It's Josephine's Miscellany. But this, I made an envelope out of this too. So I'll show you both of those. I think they turned out really cute. Here's the pianos in the smaller print. I think that turned out. That page is upside down. I'll show you how not to do that. What I do. Oh, here's the piano one. And I'll show you what to do with that. So here's what that big piano looks like. I don't think it turned out too bad. You can see the legs on the back, but you can still kind of see what it is from the front. You can tell it's a baby grand piano. So I think that turned out cute. So if you have a pattern that you want facing up, you have to think that your envelope is either going to face this way or this way. So take whatever corner you want to face up, and when you flip your paper over, make sure it is to the right. Okay, so again, like I said, I don't have the large envelope punch board, so this is what I've done. On the left here, I put this at the edge of the 5 mark, right at the 5. And I punch and I score just a little over halfway. If you go further, you're going to go off your scoreboard and rip your paper. What I've done is, it's very hard to measure from the center of this over. And if you imagine that this is 1 inch, you can actually measure to 5 inches. And I've placed a piece of tape right here, little piece of washi tape. So what you do is you go left, right, and I'll show you what I mean. You put it at the 5 here, punch and score, not off the board. Then when you turn it, you go to the right and line it up, and you punch, and you can score all the way because, of course, your paper's not hanging off the board on the short end. Remember I said it's left, right, left, right. So now we're going to go, I'm sorry, back to the left. Left, right, left, right. Yeah, you start at the left. I guess, whoops, I can't find my score line. This is really heavy cardstock. So I'm just like, and then again, now, yes, I'm not scoring all the way, but you don't have to. This actually works without that score line. When you fold it up, you can kind of eyeball, make sure it's straight, and then you can mash that with your fingers. Now, something else I did on these envelopes was I took my pen, and where this little point is, I just made a tiny little pin mark on both sides here. And you can see where that pin mark is. And I just go and cut that pin mark off. I just point my scissors to the other pin mark so it's fairly straight. And that way, then that little point isn't there. Now, that's where this comes in. This is a piece of freezer paper that I've been using. So because I was mass producing these and I just kept going, I don't know why. Okay, I guess because I had so many 12 by 12s with large print that I hadn't used for so long, I just kind of felt like I needed to get rid of some. And I really love the envelopes. And now I'm kind of considering making an envelope journal because I have so many of them. Originally, when I tried to make a 12 by 12 envelope, the tutorial that I followed was, I kept doing it wrong. And the tutorial I followed said to take the paper. Here, I'll show you. Let me get another piece of paper. The tutorial I followed did the same thing. But basically, what they said was line it up at the 5, cut, and score your paper, not off your scoreboard. And then they had you flip the paper over, line that score line up, put it back to the 5 mark again, and score, and then, or punch, and then score that. Then they had you flip it over again, line your score mark or your punch mark up with that, and do this again, score. To me, that was confusing. And when I kept flipping it over and under and all which way, I messed up my punches. This is where this comes in. Now this is dry enough to pull that freezer paper out, and then I just put this back in my stack, and then I use it again to glue. And that way I don't accidentally glue the envelope closed, because I know y'all have done that, and I have too. And it stinks when you glue your envelope closed, because you work to make it, and then you glue it closed. I know I'm not the only doofus that does that. I'm not calling y'all a doofus, but if the doofus fits. Okay. So I have my little gluey, yucky thing over here. All right. So once that's glued down, I just set it aside. And isn't that cute? I think that's so cute. Here's the problem. When I look at how to make a large envelope with a small punch board, the tutorials that I watched, I shouldn't say everybody, but the tutorials I watched involve flipping over the paper and then flipping it back over. And what I discovered is if you put a little piece of washi tape here, and I literally eyeballed it. I eyeballed it and decided that this was about 3/8 of an inch, and then I put this just 3/8 of an inch over here. But if you put your paper at 5, you can score it a little over halfway like I've done here. I don't know if you can see, but I've scored a little over halfway because my board only comes to here and I'm going to tear the paper. So you go left, right, left, right. So I measured it at the 5. Now I'm going to measure it at the tape. And then I'm going to score all the way because this, the short end, you can. Then I'm going to go back to the left, right? I mean, correct. And punch. And I'm not going to score quite all the way. I'm just going to go a little over halfway, which really doesn't make any difference in the end. And then I'm going to go back to the right here, because what I found flipping my paper up and down was I kept messing up my envelopes. So it was making me mad, and I thought there's got to be a better way. So I thought, of course, these two sides are even and these two sides are even. So if you just go back and forth, left, right, on the 5, you'll be fine. So this is scored to here. So from here to here, as long as you fold the middle first to make sure it just looks kind of straight, this part will just follow along nice. Thick papers, and they're beautiful prints. Surely I can find a use for them other than just a signature cover now and then. And so I made a ton of these envelopes, and this is how I do it. So again, with my freezer paper, now that this is done, I'll put it back in this pile here with the musical themed ones. And I just run a little bead of glue along here. The tiny bead of wet glue will not warp cardstock if you're using a nice thick cardstock. Now it will, of course, on a thinner paper, it'll warp your paper, the tip of this. So, yeah. But I did learn a few things, and even with the Simple Stories ones with the white backgrounds, I don't like the white background as much, but I do love this newsprint background and this off-white. The white background I don't think is as pretty on these, but I love this retro. So even the Simple Stories papers that were too big of prints for me to use came out good, but I love this. Now I'll show you how to do this so that you can control what's on your flap and what's down. Okay, so the first problem was I didn't have the large envelope punch. So again, if you missed the first part, I literally stuck a piece of tape over here as a guide. So if you consider this is 1 inch, see where the 1 inch mark is here? And just measure out 5 inches and put a piece of tape. Here's your 5 inch mark here. Here's your 5 inch mark here. I didn't even measure it. I just put my finger here and made it even. So it's like a guesstimate. But what you want to do is decide which way you want your picture to face. So do you want, here, let me get an envelope to show you. Do you want it this way or do you want it this way? Now I want that bud to be on the flap. So how you do that is you take this bud, when you flip it over, you put that to your right before your first punch. Now when you punch, you're just going to go left, right on your marks. So over here, you're going to put this at 5. And again, you're not going to score all the way. You're just going to score a little over halfway, because if you go off your board, you can tear your paper here. So just score just to the edge of your, where you think your board is, which is just a little over halfway. It don't even matter either. Later, I'll show you, because it's real simple. And then remember, we started to the left. So now you go to the right, you punch and score. Now you go back to the left, punch and score a little over halfway, because this is a long side again. And then go to the right. See? Left, right, left, right. So I lined it up at the 5 to tape, the 5 to tape. Now, when you're done punching, then just make sure that your fold, see, there's our bud. Your fold folds up straight. And this should just follow along nicely. So if the rest of it's folding straight, that little end will fold straight, because you can see it's not scored over here, but it don't matter. And this corner got damaged, which I didn't mean to do, but we're going to cut that off anyway. And that is my little like OCD thing that I do, because I do not like that point. So when you open up your envelope, if you don't trim it, it looks like that. And I don't like this. So where this all comes together, I just make a little line here and a little line here and pin, and then just cut that pin mark off. And even if you're not good at cutting, just point your scissors at the other pin mark. And even if it's fairly straight, it'll look fine. I cut so crooked sometimes, it's not even funny. Now, we'll go back to my last envelope. I can pull this out now because it's dry, and I'm going to set this one aside. See how fast they are? Aren't they so easy? These are so easy. And this is just freezer paper. And then I go right to the tip there of that little point and down almost to the crease. And then I just hold it down for a second and take the extra out. And that's it. Then I set this aside to dry, and I put this here. Don't forget to take your little point off. So then we've made use of that paper. Ain't that cool? You're just starting out, honey. What do you make? What's your real name? I do everything too. Girl, we all do. Hi, Deborah. Welcome. I don't know if it's late where you are. I've got my night owls are all with me. Grandma Joe's up later than normal. You like the paper behind this? You mean this one? I love that retro. Isn't that cool? It's kind of 70s vibe. All right. So I guess I may as well make an envelope out of this because I'm not going to do anything else with it. It's not journal cover material in my eyes because of the red and the blue. These are not colors I typically combine. Not that I don't love red and blue, but I'm just going to go ahead and make one more envelope. So just in review, I'm going to put my paper at the 5, punch it, and score it a little over halfway. Then I'm going to turn it and put it over here to the right at the tape and punch it and score it all the way. And then I'm going to turn it and put it back over here to the left at the 5 and punch it and score it a little over halfway. And then turn it lastly and put it at the tape. So, oops, that went off. When you got thick paper, you don't know where your, sometimes you don't know where your score line is. My bone folder just goes off on its own somewhere. All right. So remember to fold the right side first because the left isn't scored because your scoreboard's not long enough. But I think these envelopes turned out really cute. I wanted to mail the napkins in them, but I didn't. And yeah, because it was extra postage, which is a bummer. I don't know how the post office figures this stuff. I look at that and I look at that. I tell you what, I have looked at that site enough that I should have those memorized, those numbers. But even they sometimes quote me different stuff on different things. So, I don't know. I don't even know how they figure it out. Makes me go postal. Nuck, nuck, nuck. All right. So again, with the freezer paper, now this is dry because art glitter glue dries really fast. And that's what I have in my teeny tiny bottle here. So again, this point to almost the crease. Don't put it all the way down or it'll glue your envelope kind of closed at the bottom. And then that's it. Where's my gluey rag? Here's my gluey finger thing. And then don't forget to punch. Whoops, that was crooked. I have it all the way in there. Punch your little point off and you're good. Oh, you have the large too? Well, and I thought, like, I don't know that I need the large now that I figured out how to make the 12 by 12 because I don't really have paper bigger than a 12 by 12. So this would be the biggest envelope I would make anyway, probably. And I don't usually make, and since I'm not a card maker, I don't have to make an envelope to fit a specific size card. So for me, I just am making envelopes for fun. I go back and watch my own videos so I can see what people said. A lot of times it's funny and I miss it, which I'm like, dang it. But everybody's cutting up and talking to each other, and then I'm just over here like ho hum, like in my own little world. Good night. Bye. Bye.